Oh my god. Ugh.
マフィアンコミュニティが仕切る地下競売を
Right?
何者かが狙っているという情報を得たノストラードファミリー、そのボディーガードとして雇われたクラピカたちはそれぞれの任務についていた。
Yeah, you're better off outside, man. The high roller is showing up.
勢揃いだな。ほとんどが組の幹部以上。親分自ら来てる組
Ooh,
も。
head honchos.
意外だわ。
何がだ？
たかが競売でしょ。
That they came
代理
themselves.
人に頼めばいいんじゃないの？
ここはメンツ争いの場でもあるのさ。落札すれば価格の 5% が手数料としてコミュニティに支払われる。そろそろ
Oh god. Oh god. It's a full house. Full house. Oh my god. Oh.
皆様ようこそお集めいただきました。
I saw Franklin's big ass hands.
堅苦しい挨拶は抜きにして。
That's the guy. Just like that. Yeah, that's a silhouette from the emitter. Alongside Leorio. Oh my god. 11 black children.
これは念願か。ならばこいつも放出。
Indeed, indeed he is.
念のガードを貫通し、さらにこの俺の体を打ち抜く。
Oh my god.
機関銃のタガが一発一発が。なんて威力か。
As promised.
早くボスに知らせる。
Oh my god. You're next.
お前は先に。
There's a thing. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, look at this shot. There's that bloodbath.
あっけねえ、あっけねえ。
私の出番全然なかっ
Yeah.
た。
頼むぜ、しずく。
Shizuku. Ooh, okay, let's see then.
レメちゃん、
Blinky.
この部屋中の散乱した死体とその血、肉片および死人の所持品すべてを吸い取れ。
Body parts.
ついでに椅子も。
Whoa. Whoa. There's always one, right? That.
まだ息のあるやついるね。
その家族。恥ずかしい。切り刻み。地獄の。
Hey. Hold on. No. Surely not. That's just like Killua's.
何それ。
Interesting. Is there any connection to Killua or the Zoldycks? Wow. Yeah. They said as much, right?
何かあったな。
なんだ。人っ子一人ね。
That's the Phantom Troop for you. How about that? That's damn impressive.
競売品はどうなっている。
今、戦慄が地下の金庫に。
空っぽだ。道路という道路はすべて封鎖した。あと考えられるのは。
Yeah, they don't travel by roads, do they?
不審な飛行船を見つけたら連絡しろ。
Okay, so they're on the
見
lookout.
つけても殺すなよ。いいか。必ず生かして連れてこい。
Hot air balloon comes in handy then. Oh, yes.
品物がない。
Whoa. Oh,
唯一事情を知ってたオークショニアによると、一度金庫の中に入れた品を数時間前に
but again, yeah, they had a tip, right? And again, Neon's premonition.
こういう事態が起こることを知ってたみたいに。
They did.
俺たちの中にユダがいるぜ。
I mean, okay, they're using that exact
この
term.
中に裏切り者がいると。
Okay, that
いないよ、そんなやつは。
immediately shuts it down.
それに俺の考えじゃ、ユダは裏切り者じゃない。ユダは銀30枚でキリストを売ったとされているが、俺たちの中の裏切り者はいくらで俺たちをマフィアに売る。マフィアに俺たちを売ってそいつは何を得るんだ。
Look at this. Immediately steps in.
名誉か地位か。それで満足したと考えるようなやつが俺たちの中に本当にいるのか。
Interesting. Yet they're going after the treasure, right?
あまりにも対応が中途半端だ。
Yeah. It would have been tighter than
競売品を狙いに来るって情報が
Class A bounties.
もう少し厳重に警備しててもいい。
Yeah, there's none of that. They got bamboozled.
客の方は何も知らされず丸腰で集まってたんだろう。
そう言われれば。
俺の結論を言うと、情報提供者はいるが、
Yeah.
その
Yeah.
内容は具体的ではない。
Neon,
に
right?
もかかわらず、それを信用している人物がマフィアンコミュニティの上層部にいる。
I love how they keep cutting to Hisoka as well.
まあいい。で、俺たちはどうすればいい？
Crazy thing is, indirectly, he is spot on about a Judas.
そのオークショニアには聞いたか？
フェイタンが体に効いたから間違いない。
彼が今日一番気の毒な人
Oh
だ。
god.
地下競売を仕切るマフィアンコミュニティの元締めは
Ooh.
6大陸10区を縄張りにしている大組織の長、通称十郎
The
と
Ten Dons, nothing for that
10
island.
人がこの時期だけ一箇所に集まり、話し合いによって様々な指示を出すそうだ。
How about that?
実際に
In one place.
十郎と自慢の実行部隊陰獣、それぞれの長が組織最強の武闘派を持ち寄
Oh, look
って
at
結
this.
成したらしい。
警備にその陰獣が参加していなかったことから考えても、マフィアは俺たちが介入することを知らなかったに違いない。
それは
12 panels.
金庫には陰獣のメンバーがたった一人で来たそうだぜ。その陰獣の一人が手ぶらで入ってすぐに出てきたそうだ。当然金庫の
Oh.
中は空っぽ。フクロウと名乗るサングラスをかけた男らしい。
雫と同じタイプの念能力者。
He made it disappear.
おそらくな。
But it might reappear in another location, right?
500人近い客が消えたことで気づいたはずだ。敵は同じく念能力者と。
やっちまっていいよな。
Oh.
もちろんだ。追って相手に適当に暴れてやれ。そうすれば奴らの方から姿を
Right.
現すさ。
I guess they need that guy.
楽しみだぜ。
This voice.
急げ、ゴルド砂漠だ。
Oh god. Oh god.
了解。
Oh, Melody. She seems so out of place, doesn't she? Okay, Kurapika. This is it. You might get to see them finally. At least half of them. Ooh. Poor bastards.
艦隊さんのお付きだ。
手出すんじゃねえぞ。
Oh my god, that's...
俺が片付けてくるからよ。
It is Thorkel. It is, isn't it? Ah! Askeladd and Thorkel. And even this character is kind of like Thorkel. I mean, he's a lot like Thorkel. Ooh.
客をさらったのはてめえらか。
He'll admit it straight up. Yeah.
この場面でも根性してるな。てめえらの頭はドイツだ。
He's kind of like Hisoka as well then, right? Oh. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh my god, look at this perspective. Oh yeah. Berserker.
何よりも強く、ただ強くってのが
あいつの心情だからな。ただの銃じゃウボウの体にかすり傷一つつけられんぜ。
Is Franklin... Okay, I got my answer almost immediately.
ゴリラ対アリだな、ありゃ。
見てても仕方ないから
Join
トラン
in?
プでもしないかそうね賛成
Oh my god. Let's play cards. How casual. My god, Kurapika. But there's been no name drop yet.
これじゃ陰獣が現れるまでの準備運動にもなれしね。
As in, they don't know yet that this is a group called the Phantom Troop. Like, Kurapika's group doesn't know, right?
ライフルか。ムカつく野郎だ。
Almost kind of like a mosquito bite for him. No. So this man is... Oh, love that. Enhancer, right? Oh.
いい気になってんじゃねえぞ、この化け物が。戦車も一発で大釈迦にしてまう
Super bazooka,
この
okay.
スーパーバズーカ砲で粉々になれや。
He'll be fine. Oh, go on, show me the iconic...
だが
You always get the silhouette shot in the smoke. Out of the smoke. This is it. It's classic, textbook. Oh, okay. He scuffed his hand a bit.
さすがに痛えな。
どうやら敵も念をつけ
Okay,
て
yeah,
た
yeah.
な
Yeah,
しかも桁外れに強い
it makes sense that he doesn't know yet that this is the Phantom Troop.
自分で見た方が早い奴のオーラの凄まじさがわかる
But this is good. He gets to watch.
転がってる死体の
Take it
数
in. Because he is going to find out sooner or later.
いつの間にか心音が
Whoa.
一つ増えているわ
Oh, it's gotta be that group they mentioned, right? Ugh. Yeah, the Shadow Beasts?
俺は陰級の
Shadow Beast.
あいつらただのコソ泥じゃない。
Oh, okay, Kurapika might find out now.
生活の一部みたいなもんだ。
It's so mundane for them, isn't it?
殺しのプロだな。
餅は餅やってな。
おでは山。
I like him. Porcupine.
その相手が自らの敵である幻影旅団だとは、クラピカはまだ知らなかった。
Okay, yeah, let's get into it, folks. I mean, it's been building up to this, and it finally happened. The Phantom Troop unleashed, or at least a handful of them, right? And, these people are absolute professionals, essentially. Like that Shadow Beast guy said, these are professional killers. They really, truly are, right? The act of killing is just so mundane to them, isn't it? It kind of goes back to that whole notion of them not even counting the amount of people they kill. Just look at the theater massacre, for example. I thought it was really quite reminiscent of, the conclusion, the finale of Inglorious Bastards, right? The massacre that happens in that theater, right? Kind of similar. And this notion of killing just being a job, just kind of being second nature. It's so mundane that, one of them is saying, let's play cards. I thought he's about to say, let's jump in and have fun as well. But no, he's like, let him do his thing. That's how confident they are, right? I mean, even I was pretty sure he's about to just absolutely butcher, these scrubs. Essentially, they are scrubs, right? And even by the end of it, Uvo's essentially saying he didn't get enough of a warm-up for, the incoming Shadow Beasts. But they are here now. They are here. Now, they are clearly going to be a step up. That's for sure, because, they clearly have an understanding for the Phantom Troop. Hell, they might even know that they are the Phantom Troop. And that's how Kurapika might find out. Actually, maybe not, because, by the end of the episode, you see that the beasts are actually heading in now. So, there's two things that can happen here. They're really, really quite setting them up, aren't they? The Shadow Beasts. Essentially, each Dawn brings their best, the best of the best that they have to offer. And once again, in true Hunter x Hunter fashion, I get more silhouettes. And, the thing I really like there is that it's a lot of unique silhouettes, much like the Phantom Troop silhouettes. And, I like that they do look really quite different because they are coming from all over the planet, except that one island. I noticed that they didn't have a Dawn from that island. And, speaking of the Dawns, all 10 of them are here together. right? This is a rare occasion. Essentially it is a family sit down, right? I mentioned the interesting use of the term mafia. It's not really mafia in the, the traditional sense, the Italian mafia. Essentially in this story, it's just being used as crime lords, right? Organized crime and all of that. So yeah, you've got 10 dons from all over the planet. They're sitting down, important talks, right? Head honchos and all that. See, the thing is, I actually just kind of assumed that the chief, the leader of the Phantom Troop might already know all of this. That was actually part of my speculation, part of my thinking that, there's ulterior motives. And, in this episode, it becomes a bit more clear, actually, that it's not really truly about getting all of that treasure, right? There's more to it, of course. There's more to it. Maybe for some of the members, maybe some of the individual members, maybe for them, there is something in there in terms of, getting your hands on a specific treasure or rare item. But I think as a whole, if you're looking at the chief's perspective, I do feel that there is a much larger play that he's trying to pull off here. Because by putting this into motion, you are effectively and actively going up against the entire mafia community all over the planet, right? So yeah, I think there's got to be much more to it in terms of motives. So through the information that Uvo or Phaeton gets out of these people, or that auctioneer specifically, who apparently had the worst day out of all of them, according to Phaeton. Phaeton, who seems to resemble the exact same technique that I've seen on display before by Killua. It's the exact same thing, essentially, isn't it? So of course, you immediately kind of have to speculate about any possible connections to Killua, and then of course, if you're making that connection, then in addition to that, the Zoldyck clan, right? Is there any relation at all? But let's look at the promised massacre, the bloodbath, right? As the chief said, kill anyone that gets in the way, right? Kill them all. And that's exactly how it played out. And, like I mentioned, it's just so effortless for them, isn't it? And they wrap it up quite quickly as well, in and out. And, this whole cleanup aspect of it, that in itself also feels like a deliberate move because, it really creates this element of chaos, right? People don't know. They have no idea, are these people alive still? Are they kidnapped? Can you possibly get them back? They're thinking about all of this. And, there's this massive commotion, right? And commotion and chaos is good. And they do really quite easily get out of there because of their, selection, their aircraft of choice, right? The hot air balloon. But I love how the last episode really functioned as the essential build-up episode, or Calm Before the Storm episode, the table setting episode. And now, it didn't do that whole thing of, okay, even though it's been set up perfectly, let's still take half the episode. Maybe, get to the last bit of the episode and then show this massacre that happens. No. It's actually a little bit meta as well, isn't it? Because you have Phaeton, who straight up just tells the audience, right? That audience, the one that gets massacred, and then maybe us as well, that he's going to skip the formalities, right? And then of course, Franklin lets loose. And, the moment those fingers kind of detach, right? It immediately kind of fills that silhouette alongside Leorio, right? So, these silhouettes kind of give you the answer before the answer itself, the official confirmation of any specific Nen category. So I think as of this point, I've seen all of them from the recent silhouettes, from the opening, from the last few episodes, right? As it's kind of going through the different categories. So yeah, alongside Leorio, it was him, Franklin. He's an emitter. He's shooting out these Nen bullets, devastating, of course. But yeah, the Sideburns guy, yeah, he really takes it head on, doesn't he? I mean, it was a little bit sad to see them die like that. Baze and Tochino. There's no mercy. Absolutely no mercy. Even Shizuku is just so devastatingly effective. All three of them as a trio are just in and out in no time, right? So, I knew that, I pretty much knew that Shizuku is the other conjurer, again, because of the silhouette. Now I got to see it. the vacuum cleaner. But oh my god, it's it's equal parts bizarre, maybe even a little bit silly, but also just really quite jarring, isn't it? To be able to clean up, at that capacity, blood and body parts, bodies themselves, dead bodies, chairs, objects, everything, as long as she specifies it from the looks of it. Blinky, Blinky, that's some name, but yeah. So she's a conjurer. Then I get a confirmation for Franklin. He's an emitter, and then also the late Tochino is also an emitter. But yeah, it turns out it was actually a translation error, and he's not a manipulator. He's an emitter. And yeah, you really get to see that aspect of it right before he dies, unfortunately. But essentially, there's levels to this, right? There's levels to this. And Franklin's ability is just on a totally different planet, right? It's a different level. But Phaeton is the one I'm not really able to kind of classify just yet, right? I didn't see enough. To give me anything, because that ability, I've seen it. I've seen Killua perform that technique. Now, of course, there was a bit of a twist. The items or the treasure itself, someone else had just taken it out of there. And again, they actually even confirmed that it was one of the beasts, right, who didn't really show up just yet. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how exactly the treasure or those rare items reappear, right? Because for Shizuku's, it's getting sucked into the cleaner. To me, it was really quite similar to the TARDIS, the concept of it, I suppose, bigger on the inside, right? Like a whole new dimension on the inside, perhaps a pocket dimension, perhaps something of that ilk. Again, it remains to be seen. Maybe they'll explain it. Does everything kind of get broken down, or can you actually make it reappear in the same shape? But yeah, up until Uvo actually calls the chief and lets him know that no, it was empty, I just kind of assumed, they got in, they took it, now they're out of there. But no, that was the twist part of it, but not the reasoning behind it, right? Yes, Uvo actually thought that there's a traitor, but really much more specifically, Judas. I actually used that term a few episodes ago for Hisoka. The really interesting thing here is that, indirectly, right, he's actually spot on. There is a traitor, there is a Judas, and it is the homie Hisoka. But us, the audience, knows that it's more to do with Neon and her premonitions, right? I mean, they made it really quite clear. And yeah, they acted on it. I mean, there's that really specific conversation, right, between the head of security and Neon's father, right? And he understood. He certainly understood. So yeah, I'm sure he made a few calls and they made it happen. It's not there anymore. But of course, the chief almost immediately shuts it down. He immediately steps in because he does not want that type of talk to take over. There is that scene, there's that moment as all of them kind of start looking at each other, right? Right after Uvo mentions, oh, there's a traitor, there's a Judas maybe. But no, the chief knew. He just kind of knew all the permutations. He took all of the information into account, and he knew, it completely just checks out that they didn't know, right? They might have had some type of tip, and then, they kind of ran with that tip, right? But that's it. Because he made it really quite clear in his explanation that, yeah, if they knew about us coming, then, they would have been just strapped to the gills, right? They would have had much more security, but they didn't, right? They didn't. So, yeah, he almost immediately diffuses that situation. And the thing is, his take on Judas actually makes me believe even more that he most definitely knows about Hisoka and his intentions or his motives. And, based on that, it kind of even sounds like he's not all that concerned about Hisoka, right? He's not all that concerned about Hisoka being this person who is going to betray them, or being this person who is just kind of playing the part. It's almost as if he's so accepting of the role every single person has to play, or that every single person has a role, right? And he's just accepting it. I mean, essentially, it is beginning to feel like that he is the type of person who might not actually hold that against Hisoka. Once it actually becomes really quite clear that, these are Hisoka's intentions. But let me kind of circle back to my point about the shadow beasts and there being two distinct possibilities. One of them is clearly, okay, this is going to be a step up I mean, that I think that's a bit of a given, right? It is going to be a step up from the scrubs that just got absolutely decimated. But, the thing is, they really set them up. They really set them up. So, part of me feels like, okay, maybe they are going to give Uvo a much, much closer challenge, a much closer fight. But then on the flip side, I also think there's a distinct possibility that even after all that setup, Uvo still might decimate them, right? It could be that as well, quite easily. But the thing is, the fact that they are a step up from the people that just died, it does give us, the audience, a chance, and also Kurapika a chance to see Uvo's abilities. So, the good thing is, Kurapika gets to see all of this from a distance, take in all of this from a distance. And then, of course, sooner or later, he is going to find out that, okay, that's a Phantom Troop member, that this whole group that pulled this off is the Phantom Troop, right? And then, of course, that moment, it's going to hit like a truck, right? Kurapika, I know he's going to be on edge, right? And of course, at that moment, he might have the urge to just storm in there, right? And just unleash. But he's going to have to control himself, because I think right now he has a really, really fantastic opportunity to learn, to observe, right? And, in this case, it appears to be Uvo, right? So unless, of course, some of the other ones kind of jump in to assist Uvo, right? If he actually is in a bit of trouble, I don't know. I just don't feel like he's going to be in that much trouble. Yeah, they might give him a better fight, a better challenge, but I feel like he is going to handle them nonetheless. But yeah, the fact that he's the one who's being showcased, there's a good chance that this could be the person that Kurapika could go up against, right? Especially because he is getting to observe a lot of it, a lot of his abilities and how he functions, the type of person he is, the type of, combatant he is. And the thing is, it really truly sounds like it is Thorkel's voice, isn't it? And the really fun thing about this is that, it's a really similar type of character to Thorkel, isn't it? These two could be best friends, actually. But yeah, Kurapika, he's got to hang in there. Once he does find out, he's got to hang in there. He's got to hang back. It'll be tough. It'll be tough because, they're right there. He's been after this moment. He's been dreaming of this moment, visualizing this moment. And to find out that, those are the guys, those are the people, that's a Phantom Troop right there, within touching distance, it's going to take a lot of self-control. But let's kind of look at it and look at Kurapika's chances at this point. Like I said in the last episode, there's no chance in hell that he can go up against a few of them. No chance. It has to be one-on-one, right? If he actually truly wants to take them out, he's going to have to approach them one-on-one. But, again, it's not really realistic. He's not going to go through all 13 of them, sooner or later. Even if somehow he's able to go through one of them, maybe a couple of them, sooner or later, he's going to land on their radar. I mean, even if he goes through one of them somehow, he's going to land on their radar. But the thing is, there's also another really interesting dynamic, isn't there? If somehow he is able to take one of them out, that's a Phantom Troop member. That might actually impress a few of them. That might actually impress the chief, right? So, there's a lot of angles to this. But again, let me pull it back a bit. Let's look at Kurapika's chances. Honestly, at this point, even one-on-one, it's a tough call. I'm really not seeing how he could take on Shizuku, or how he could take on, Phaeton, Franklin, Uvo even. But again, the setup is there for that potential showdown because, again, us, the audience, and Kurapika is getting to see everything he has to offer. And now it's going to escalate even further because not the Phantom Beasts, the Shadow Beasts are going to get more out of him, right? They are going to push him a bit further to reveal more of his abilities, I suppose, right? And I do believe he is an enhancer. It certainly felt like that and looked like it as well. So, essentially, realistically, it doesn't feel like Kurapika can actually take out one of them at this point, specifically, perhaps. But again, Kurapika is crafty. He is. I've already seen it on display. Him having those chains already out on display. It's almost kind of like the Hulk or Bruce Banner. I'm always angry. That's my secret. So, he kind of passed off as a manipulator, right? And he fooled the late Tokino's, I think, a Brazilian MMA fighter's nickname, Rusumar Paharis, I believe, from a few years ago. But yeah, he's got tricks up his sleeve already. And again, there is that other possibility on the table still, right? He used the one finger, the ring finger, I believe. But, there's other fingers, I speculated or kind of theorized about those fingers having other uses, perhaps. So let's see. Let's get him in front of one of them. But also, all of that being said, Uvo isn't really, he's not a crafty individual, right? He's devastating, absolutely devastating, and essentially confirmed to be the strongest physically, right? I almost asked the question, about Franklin potentially being on the same level, but, they immediately confirmed that no, Uvo is most definitely the strongest, right? He's a berserker. He's merciless, ruthless. He goes into that berserker mode, right? Again, the glory of battle, it really is kind of similar to Hisoka in that sense, and really quite similar to Thorkel, right? Thorkel's always up for the glory of the battle, the glory of war, and all of that, right? It's really funny how, sometimes, typecasting kind of is the term that comes to mind, but you see how, that voice actor really kind of fills a really specific role, at least, the two performances I've seen as of this point. And again, I'm really, really quite sure that is him. It really truly sounded like him at multiple points, right? And I love that Askeladd's voice is right there beside him, right? Nobunaga. But listen, folks, it's essentially playing out exactly how I felt that it might play out. What if I end up liking them? And damn, do I like them. I mean, these characters, the Phantom Troop members, pretty much all of them, right? All of them are just so interesting to me. I like them. I like them as a group. They really do have a fantastic group dynamic. And then, of course, within the group itself, the larger group, you have these splinter groups, right? You've got 2 or 3 or 4 of them at a time that do have a really specific type of banter between them, right? You see, you see that Phaeton and Franklin and Shizuku, they really are quite effective together, right? Though, of course, Phaeton didn't really do much in terms of the massacre. That was just all Franklin. He just let loose. Essentially, there's just a few of them that don't really stand out as much because essentially they're just kind of chilling there alongside the chief, right? Again, by design, he's not there by himself. And, this is something Hisoka was kind of scoping out in the last episode. But I'm sure even those members are going to get their time to shine. But, speaking of Uvo and, his philosophy, it's really quite a clear-cut philosophy, isn't it? It's to be the strongest of them all. It really is quite simple, isn't it? For him, at least. That makes you think about the other members of the Phantom Troop. Their motives, their reasoning for being a part of this. I kind of touched up on this in the last episode's discussion, or maybe 2 episodes ago, the first time I get to see the troop members. Because, the chief himself kind of confirms that, none of these people, the members of the Phantom Troop, none of us care about the money, the prestige, the glory, none of that, right? So, yeah, it's going to be really quite interesting to find out about their really specific motivations to be a part of the Phantom Troop. But, this idea of them not really caring much about money, yet still going after rare items that are worth a lot of money, right? This treasure, essentially, yeah, it makes you think, doesn't it? In terms of the chief's plans for all of that, right? If they are to acquire a lot of it, could it be this idea of potentially removing a lot of it, a massive chunk of it off the market, right? That could be a massive play on the global scale. But yeah, once again, it kind of leans into the religious aspect of it, or the imagery or references and all that. It straight up just confirms that, in this story's universe, yeah, Jesus is a thing. Jesus and Judas was a thing. So, from that perspective, do you kind of begin to think about, Jesus potentially being an end user back in the day, right? You kind of have to think about that possibility, don't you? But, the inverted cross, right? It's all about context. It's all about perspective, isn't it? Because from one perspective or angle, it could be in opposition to Christianity, right? In defiance, satanic. Or on the flip side, from another perspective, it could be all about the humility aspect of it. The St. Peter's cross aspect of it. And I really love that touch of having the 12 panels in the stained glass roof. Yeah, it's 12 panels, and then of course at the center you've got the chief, I guess. And yeah, once again, I've got to say his take on Judas is really quite the interesting one, isn't it? He's defending Judas from that term, traitor. He's not a traitor. He wasn't a traitor, right? That's his claim. Interesting, really quite interesting, man. But yeah, that brings me to the conclusion. Once again, the shadow beasts are about to enter, right? These are some ugly looking fucks. I mean, they understood the assignment. They understand the assignment. They know who they're going up against. They do. Yeah. Porcupine's the one that really kind of stood out to me. He really reminded me of Krillin. Then there's Worm. Yeah, looks the part. Certainly looks the part. There's also Leech. And there's one more. Leech, Porcupine, Rabbit Dog. Yes, that's the one. But no owl just yet, right? Maybe they can get that information out of them. Maybe Uvo can beat that information out of them, But yeah, man, I mean, it is just, I don't know, man. This anime, this story is so grand. So grand. It just kind of builds exponentially episode by episode, right? Story arc by story arc. It is just so incredibly engaging. It really, truly is. And, the thing is, at this point in time, I don't need to see Gon and Killua or even Leorio anytime soon. For a few episodes even, depending on how long this little fight plays out and, Kurapika potentially finding out about the Phantom Troop being right there. That right there is a sign of an incredible ensemble cast of characters, engaging characters, that you can give the principal cast a backseat from time to time, right? And focus on some of these others. I mean, Kurapika is a part of that principal cast, but even calling it a principal cast doesn't quite feel right anymore, because a lot of these characters, especially the recently showcased Phantom Troop, they feel like the principal cast as well at this point. They do, But yeah, man, exciting episode. A fantastic episode. I'm really quite excited for the next one. So if you enjoyed that, consider dropping a like, consider dropping some comments, give me your thoughts. If you're interested in the next few episodes right now, or full opacity or timer-based full length, consider supporting the channel and checking out the Patreon page. The links are in the description and the pinned comment. Also links to social media if that's your thing. Right then, thank you so much for joining me, folks, and thank you for your time, because time is precious. It really is. And I do hope to see you again soon for the next episode. Until then, take it easy.